This is Artist Reignited. Finally I've got round to uploading another YouTube video. I've had a lot of things occupying me, other hobbies, work related things. Kind of kept me off YouTube for a bit. But now I'm back again and putting up another waffling on video, gossiping about fish. It's actually late at night at the moment and I can't sleep, so I thought I'd talk about some fish. Particularly these ones here. They're just little $1 feeder fish. Quite often a lot of people buy them to feed Oscars or cichlids. They're very cheap. But you know what? For a $1 fish, they don't all look that bad, eh? Most of these little feeder fish are about $1 each, sometimes $2 each, depending on size or breed. These ones here are called feeder barbs. They sort of resemble the lemon barb a little bit, with a little bit of sort of spot genetics in there in the tail. I actually think they look really good for feeder fish. I've had them in here for a couple of months now and they've been thriving well. They sort of keep stirring up the duckweed as it's being stirred up by the aeration, but they feed off the duckweed there. I've put a smaller light on their tank because I want this duckweed gone. I don't really need it to manage the nitrates in the tank because I've got a massive bioload filter here and I've got some Swiss cheese pothos there and some marble queen pothos sort of assisting the nitrite problem here. Not that it is a problem, but helps prevent it from being a problem. And I've got some filter floss here, which I just use on a makeshift plastic plant pot thing. And then that just trickles on there, filters all the solids out. And then eventually it goes through this 3-stage filter, as I've mentioned in my other videos, to filter this tank. This tank originally had a curly loach and some different species of tetras in there. They've all gone outside and they've gone in the pond. I had some neon tetras in this tank. They're now outside in a pond and they've already bred in the pond. I hear mixed reviews about neons. They're hard to breed. They have to be in shallow water, certain temp and pH. I just threw them in an old bung-it-all pond, just an old plant potter pond, which was connected to my pond circuit outside, and they've bred. There's 4 of them in there now. And there was 2 in there, so I've got an extra 2, and I did see some more babies in there. But yeah, back to these little cheap feeder barbs. I think they look really nice. They have that sort of nice slender silver belly on them, nice bit of sort of yellow, fluorescent-y sort of yellow on the top, and they're very happy in here. I'm actually thinking of maybe moving 3 or 4 of them out, preferably a male and 3 females outside to a pond and just let them do their thing. Or I might just leave them in here and just let them do their thing in here, but I tend to have a lot better luck breeding fish out in ponds. And ponds are just sort of set and forget. Nature does its thing. You get water changes with rain, you get natural UV light from the sun, not this artificial sort of LED, which LEDs are okay. I mean, as you can see, the Java fern's growing a little bit. This tank did have a whole carpet of Java moss, which I completely removed it. I removed it to the point you would not see any of it here, but there must have been some buried underneath the substrate, and now it's come back. And a little bit back like that. Looks quite good. And then there was some Brazilian microsword that must have been buried inside the substrate, or there's some roots that were sort of left in there and now they've grown back out. So that's also quite a resilient plant as well. These fish do nip plants. Tend to do it more in aquariums, I've noticed from my experience. I'm talking about barb fish. They tend to nip plants. Most fish do anyway, but they particularly like nipping plants. Well, they did with me. And I've got the plants in here at the moment and they don't seem to be nipping them anymore. They've sort of faded it out, unless it's because I've been sort of giving them a good variety of foods and that. But they're quite happy in here. They're enjoying their home. It's a sort of a 40-litre bookshelf tank plus an extra 20 litres of, well, approximately 20 litres of water volume here. And they're just really happy. Eventually I'm going to make a decision whether I want to keep these inside or keep these guppies inside. Because what I want to do is I want to build a wooden shelf, get rid of these sort of garage racks, put them in the shed, use them for something else. And I want to kind of build a nice looking stand like this one here. So you got some cheap $4 pine, $4 a plank, and then you just basically put it together with some wood glue, some screws, and then you add your putty on your screws. I didn't do a good job there, but anyway, and then you paint it. Or you can always do a black one like this if you want a sort of more sleeker look. But I want to build another shelf out of this stuff, the pine and some sort of waterproof paint, and then I want to put these two tanks together and I want to plumb them together as one system, similar to what I do outside the ponds. So I've already marked out roughly where I'm going to put the tank fitting on each tank, and then I'm going to join them together. I'm still going to keep the same substrate in this one and the same substrate in this. The environments are going to stay the same. The only issue I'm going to have is when I drill this glass, and it's not tempered, it's just normal glass, is fragments of glass shards getting in here. So I might have to drain the water down to maybe there and then gravel vac the hell out of it, or put some sort of seal on there with a cup or something, just to stop it, you know. Once we drill that, we can put the tank fittings on, join these two tanks side by side. That tank will have to be up on a higher shelf by a couple of inches, just so they match the exact height, otherwise you're going to get unequal water levels. And I think I will keep the guppies in there and put them outside in their own pond outside, because these feeder barbs, I find they go well even in small ponds. They tend to not pollute the water quick, and if you've got them in, say, like a 80 or 100 litre pond, they're fine. I wouldn't go smaller, because they do breed prolifically. They scatter eggs everywhere. They tend to outside. I had some another type of barb out there, cherry barbs that bred out there, and they're still outside in the main pond. They just don't appear that often. Yeah, that's a project I've got coming up. Whether I do it in 2026 or the rest of 2025, I do not know, but it is going to definitely happen, and I will do a video on it. And yeah, it'll just clean up these shelves nicely, so I can sort of run one filter off one tank. And I thought about using the sump system with that too. And what I'm going to do is make a airlift siphon system with this sump behind it. So imagine I've got a wooden shelf, I've got that tank plumbed in with this tank, and then I'll have an airlift system on this tank. So your airlift would be here, and then it'd siphon up, and then those three sumps, for example, would be behind here. It would siphon into those sumps, and then imagine this tank's on the side, and then they'd come out the outlet of this sump here and then back into this tank. So you'd have a full closed circuit running on nothing but air pressure. And as you can see, as I've mentioned in my other videos, I've got a air pressure vessel here giving extra pressure to run more air volume to all these tanks without adding strain to the air pump outside where the ponds are. So that air pump, as I've mentioned in my other videos, powers all my ponds and all my tanks in here with aerated power systems or air powered systems, sponge filters, etc. And I'm also going to, once I put the air siphon system in, I'll use this and then I'll put a pipe on here. That biomedia rod may as well go in here. And then I'm going to put more plants on this side, and create sort of a nice aesthetically appealing, naturistic looking sump system with these tanks joined together. It's another idea I had, which would probably be a lot more risky because I'm not exactly a professional glazer, is because these tanks are exactly the same width but not the same height, I'll take this panel off here and then I'll cut this glass across here and then silicone that tank on there to make sort of like a L-shaped tank. But I'm not really confident with my glazing skills to do that, whereas I have had really good practice drilling glass, and I'm confident that I can plumb these together using a 1-inch tank fitting, so the fish have room to move through. And it's a lot less risky because when I've got to cut glass, I need to get a cutter and it's got to be done exactly straight. Otherwise I won't be able to line this up, and then I've got to cut this silicone, remove this, and it's a lot of effort, and it could even destroy the rest of the silicone structure in the tank. Whereas when you're just drilling a hole concentrated in one area, the pressure sort of equalizes as it flows into the other tank, and you're not worrying about, because these silicone joints are done in factory, they're done professionally, they're very neat, and I don't want to ruin them. So I'm confident I'm going to plumb this system. So yeah, it'll be sort of my indoor guppy enclosure eventually. And these little barbs, feeder barbs, can go outside and start reproducing. Anyway, that's what I'd do an update video and what I wanted to talk about. Thank you for listening to me waffle on about fish again. This is Artistry Ignited. Tune in again soon.